I am looking for one strong vomit to the downside. I want the market to collapse tomorrow, because if it does, I am gonna throw my entire portfolio into calls. All right, maybe not the entire portfolio, but oh my god, please, I just want one vomit. There's one vomit to the downside. We are going to get so aggressive on short-term calls, we probably won't need to trade for the rest of the year. All right, so my videos are starting to do pretty well. I really appreciate all of the love and the support that I'm receiving. Thank you so much for your likes, your comments, and subscribes. I really appreciate it. So let's get started with the video and talk about what's going on. So clearly, here's the NASDAQ. I wanted this to happen at the open, but what they did was they brought the market up. We gapped up, right? We went up even higher during the day here, right? And then they brought it down into the close. So what they did here was create the maximum pain for retail investors, essentially, to make them feel like things were about to be bullish, that we're reversing here, but then we ended up closing below yesterday's low. This is something that I wanted to happen yesterday. So for today, in Twitter, let me show you guys. So yesterday I was showing, oh my god, you know, I hope we open below 359.43. I'll be buying super like close at the money calls on the IWM and the NASDAQ. But that didn't end up happening, and I wish it did. So if we gap down twice outside of the lower level of the B band, so 2 consecutive days opening lower outside of the lower level of this B band here, that would have been the only time that that's happened since the damn COVID crash. So I was really hoping that this would happen so that we can get super aggressive into calls. I would have threw my almost, oh my god, we would have made so much money if that was the case, if we opened lower. But they didn't allow that to happen today. And real quick, if you didn't notice, basically when we do fall 2 days in a row, the next days are so aggressively strong. You can look at any other time this happens in history. The reversal is so strong. So that's what I was hoping for today. But of course that didn't happen. So now for the NASDAQ, obviously the next level of support is going to be this 357 level. Very important. And that would help bring the RSI of the NASDAQ oversold, which would be the first time that this happens in over a year. The RSI on the NASDAQ has not been oversold since the COVID crash. So if that happens today, or sorry, if that happens soon, that is going to be beautiful. So we're going to buy the dips on everything, guys. So 357, important level of support. Of course, that can overshoot to the downside, and then we can, you know, fall into the 350s. No problem. But that is currently the most important level of support. So the market was showing some early signs of life because the 30-year yield started to reverse off of these this support line that we created. And essentially, if the 30-year yield does start to really heavily reverse, that should be a very good sign for the SPY and the NASDAQ. But currently, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, it still needs to cross above 160. So that should be the first target. We need to close above 160 on the 30-year yield, and then we can see what happens afterward. And of course, if the 30-year yield is going down, then the NASDAQ also goes down, okay? The QQQs. So basically my analysis is I want the market to just collapse down to 350, and I want us to open down here to make the trading so much more easier. And if this does happen, and if we, you know, collapse way lower, we're just gonna throw our entire life savings into short-term calls expiring next week. Just kidding. Not your financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Anyway, that is the NASDAQ. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM and the 10-year yield. So the IWM held 220 like a champ. That essentially, you can see that it's in a bull flag, so it's still currently the most bullish of the 3 indices, right? But you can see the MACD is extremely overbought, so there's still tons more room to the downside. And the RSI has not even started to move down yet, so that is not the best sign either. But of course, these indicators are showing huge weakness because the rest of the market is showing huge weakness. and of course because the 30-year yield is showing huge weakness, right? The 10-year yield also started to top out a bit because we had extreme strength for the past few days. When the 10-year yield goes up, the IWM goes up. And when the 10-year yield goes down, generally the IWM also goes down, okay? So essentially that is really it. We need to key off on what happens with the NASDAQ and the SPY for tomorrow to see what happens with the IWM. But currently, we are holding IWM calls. I sold half of my position this morning for a 12% loss because I know for a fact, well, I was correct that the market would fall lower, but I'm not going to add to any of those calls until I see a very, very weak collapse into the market. So I'm okay with taking a 12% loss. We saved a lot of money because currently those calls are now 30% down. So I want to play this bounce. I want to get very, very aggressive if the market falls, because every single time the market showed extreme weakness, we bought the dip and the dip worked perfectly. But like, this was just there, this price action here today was just there to hurt retail investors. They created basically mathematically they manipulated the option pricing and volatility, etc., because they wanted maximum pain to retail investors, and they wanted to allow essentially banks and hedge funds to clear out their positions without losing a lot of money. I don't know how to explain it properly, but basically if you were trading today, you would see that the price action was not in favor of you. So if you know enough about trading and you've been monitoring the markets for a long time, you'll see that days like this happen, specifically when there's huge downside. So yeah, enough rambling about that. So analysis on the IWM, basically the market, it's all dependent on the NASDAQ currently. The bonds are still extremely strong in favor of the IWM, so we're buying dips on the IWM and the NASDAQ. Boom, that's it. SPY, it doesn't look as terrible in terms of the technical indicators as the IWM does. There's still more room to go to the downside, but of course, if the NASDAQ does collapse, it would potentially bring the SPY down to this beautiful trend line here, and we can, you know, play the bounce on everything. And that would also create a place where the SPY is trading outside of the lower level. But the fact that now the SPY is within the Bollinger Band, that's not good, because there is tons more room to go to the downside on the SPY. This is not bullish at all. And that would be very good because we want to buy the dips, okay? Yeah, that's really it. You can see that it reclaimed the Bollinger Band, and the lower level of the Bollinger Band is vomiting. So that is not the best sign for the SPY. And all of those things combined basically tells me that there's still tons more room to the downside, hopefully. And there's the analysis on the SPY. Let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto market. Crypto market, same thing. If the NASDAQ, the SPY, if the US equities market collapses, then I'm gonna want crypto to collapse below 40,000, bounce off of this 36 to 38,000 range here, load up on the dips, baby, and then close the end of the year so strong. That's really it. This is not a bullish scenario currently for Bitcoin, especially because the equities market is so bearish as well. So that's why the crypto market looks bearish as well. And I mean, that's really it. You can look at Ethereum, same concept here. Not the best in terms of the technical indicators on Ethereum or Bitcoin. And truly, that is really it for the overall market. But yeah, basically all eyes are on the equities market. If the equities market collapses, then Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to collapse. If not, things are going to rally. All right, it's really that simple currently. And it looks like the equities market is going to take a plunge. Please take a plunge. Because if that happens, we are going to be very rich into the end of the year, I think. So there's my analysis. If you guys liked the video, if you enjoyed the content that I'm providing you guys, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I post all my plays live for free on Twitter. The accounts are growing. Lots more people are watching the videos, and I am super thankful and happy that people see value in what I'm giving. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, thank you so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.